Today's verse of the day is Galatians 5:13, and the Good News translation says, "As for you, my friends, you are called to be free, but do not let this freedom become an excuse for letting your physical desires control you. Instead, let love make you serve one another." When I'm reading that, as I'm thinking about all of the things that I see my clients deal with and that I deal with from time to time in my home as a mom with 4 kids, thinking about this on July 4th, which is America's Independence Day, and just thinking about how many days and years of my life I spent feeling like a slave to the clutter in my home. I did not feel free because I've let my physical desires, my desire to have more things and to have this excess and to just completely just have way more than we needed, and I let it take over my home, and it did not create a better home. It created a unhappy home. It's not happy to have a mess and to ask your kids to clean up their mess when it's way too much for them to manage on their own. You can't expect them to clean up 1,000 things in 20 minutes. It's not possible. Like, if it looks overwhelming to you, it sure looks overwhelming to someone who is half your size. For sure looks overwhelming to them and feels impossible. And especially if you have a child that has ADHD or other sensory overload, man, that mess can really overwhelm their senses. That is something that we really have to pay attention to. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'm going to share with you about how my clients have been a slave to their clutter and what we can do to change that. Listen in. Hey friend, are you feeling like a slave to your home? Because no matter how much you do, you're never finished. It's never done. The housework is always waiting for you, and you feel guilty for leaving or trying to do something fun because you didn't finish all of your work. Yeah, I've been there too. A lot, actually. And that's not the way we're supposed to live. That is not the way we're supposed to live, okay? So most of the time when we're feeling that way, it's because we have more things than we need and we need to get rid of the excess. Most of the time, we need to get rid of the excess. Other times, we need to just be better planners and create a better schedule or system for our housework and our responsibilities so that we are able to get everything done before, on a regular basis, so we can keep up with it. If it's not piled up because we didn't do it on a regular basis, then it's a lot more manageable if you are able to keep up with it, right? For example, laundry is one of the biggest struggles that we all have. That is one of the things that makes us feel like we're behind, our house is messy. The other thing is toys and clutter. Paperwork is a huge clutter source for some homes. Kids' toys, boxes, and just things that you've brought home for projects that you just never got to. That's another thing I see a lot as a clutter source. But when we take a look at what time we have available and the amount of things that we're putting off that we feel that's making us feel stuck and trapped and like a slave to the housework, then it's so much easier to see what's really important when we take a look, step back and take a look. You would be able to see it for a friend, but it's a lot harder to see where the struggles are for ourselves, right? I can easily pinpoint the big stressor for a family when I come in their home to do a consultation. It's the words that they're saying. It's the way they are reacting to a certain space. It is the way a certain space looks and feels and the types of clutter that are in there. A lot of times it's going to be, if it's children's things, maybe they struggle because they are gone a lot and they don't want to say no to their children. And so they buy them all the things, and then they feel overwhelmed because there's so much stuff. I see that a lot with working parents. Another thing is maybe they wanted other children and they just didn't have them. And so they saved everything from every child. And then they're dealing with all of this stuff, and then it's emotional to make those decisions. And where do you even start? Because there's so much to decide on, and you don't need it anymore because you're past the age and stage for having children. But what do you do with it? It's good stuff. Do you save it? Do you sell it? Who can use it? Do you have a friend? Where do you even take all of that stuff if you're donating it? There's a lot to think about with that. And there's just a lot of weight that comes with clutter. Emotional weight, guilt, feelings of guilt for making, decisions that got you to the point of being cluttered. There's so many things that I see in families' homes. When it's paperwork, it's because they're chronically unorganized most of the time, and they don't know what's important to keep. Oftentimes they grew up in a family that had a background with hoarding or mental health issues, and it caused a need to save everything. A lot of families that grew up in depression times, their parents turned into hoarders. They saved everything because everything was valuable. Everything was needed. Everything was a value. So they saved everything because they lived through a time when those things would have been very valuable. And now we're in a season where no one values, their children didn't value anything. And so now they're left cleaning it out. A lot of times when I see, people who have lost loved ones and they've taken all of their belongings or a huge portion of their belongings into their own family home, and now they're overwhelmed and they're having trouble living their daily life because of all of the things piled up. And it's hard because they're grieving and there's loss involved. And they're feeling burdened by their stuff, and they're feeling weighed down and enslaved by the clutter. It's taking over their mental health. It's taking over their physical health. Because when we're living in a home that is full of clutter, it causes depression, and it causes anxiety, and it causes all kinds of things. Stress levels are significantly heightened, and that, living in clutter causes tension in relationships. And it's just there's so many things that are negatively impacted when our homes are cluttered, not just for ourselves, but for our children and for our marriage and our friendships, because we don't invite people in. We aren't honest with friends and family about how our home looks and feels because it's embarrassing. And so we put up walls to protect ourselves emotionally, and it just pushes people away. And you do that long enough and you can be on the hoarder show. But honestly, so many times I've worked with people that are feeling like they're on the path to be on that show, and it's scary for them. They're embarrassed because they know it's not who they want to be. It's not where they want to be in life. And their friends and their family is suffering from it. Their family's been pushing them to make decisions for a while now, and they haven't gotten there. And when they finally invite me in, it's really scary for them because they're afraid of the judgment. They're afraid of the comments that could be hurtful. And so I'm very sensitive to that, and I'm very careful to see the emotion behind the mess. Why have they stored up all of this clutter? Why have they stored up all of these things? And yes, oftentimes it is valuable things that they've gotten collected over these years, and it's just not something that's valuable to them anymore. It's not bringing value to their life. Yes, they may be valuable things, but they are not adding value to their life. In fact, it is taking away from their life to live in this cluttered home, to live with all of these things, to be responsible for all of these things. And it's keeping them from being able to do the things that they feel like they should be doing instead. And they say all the time, if I could just get rid of this, then I could do this. If I got this under control, then I would be able to do this, or I would be able to spend more time focusing on this area. Or, when I finish this mess, I'm going to take a trip. I'm going to travel. And how many other things are they putting off that they're not talking to me about? That's what I want to know. How many years have they put this off because of the mess? Sometimes I have clients that have a huge amount of mess, and it just recently started. Maybe this is just a 1 year's pileup of disaster because something happened in their family or in their relationships, or, maybe they had a loss of a loved one, or some tragedy happened, and they just shopped for that emotional therapy of shopping, that dopamine hit when they find a great deal or get something in the mail. A lot of times that's part of it, but they're still feeling like they're a slave to their home. They're still feeling trapped and burdened and embarrassed and ashamed and all kinds of emotions behind the stuff. So when I come in and we start working on it and it starts disappearing quickly, and these rooms feel so much more functional and refreshing, and the family comes in, their kids come in, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love it. Look what wow, I didn't know we had this anymore. I'm so glad you found this. There's so many times that the kids come in and they're just they can't hide their emotions and they're so complimentary of the space. And then there's other times when the family comes in and they would say something like, it's about time, or I can't believe you waited so long to do this, or something that just doesn't feel like a positive, and that doesn't help the situation. So if you are working with someone who is struggling with a mess and you say something like that, just know that you are not helping. You are making it harder for them. You're adding to the shame and guilt and negativity that they're already feeling. And it would be better for you to just say, wow, great job. This is looking a lot better. I'm so proud of you. If you can't do that, then you need to just be like, just wow, and a positive. Think of something positive. I'm so proud of you. I'm sure this has been hard making these decisions. I know it's been piling up for a while, weighing you down. Like, you cannot come in and be negative to someone and expect them to stay motivated. You got to encourage them with some positivity, right? So if you have a family member that's struggling with clutter, try that approach. Try that positive difference, say something kind. I'm so proud of you. Good job. Even if all they did was straighten a stack of papers and they didn't go through anything yet. Maybe all they did was sort the laundry and they still haven't washed any of it yet. It's one step, right? It's one step closer to where it could have been. And I'm not the best at complimenting, but I am really great at encouraging and supporting and being bringing the smile into the room when I'm working with people like this. And I have so much fun when I'm working. I really do. Like the smile, just thinking about it, I'm smiling. When I'm telling people about what I do for a living, I'm smiling. I can't stop it. It just is there because I know it's transforming their life. It is making a huge impact, not just for them, but for their family as well. And I love it. I love it so much. And, it's one of those things that I know really is a God-given talent for me, because I don't know how to, sometimes when I look at a space, I don't have any plan initially. And other times, as soon as I see it, I'm like, do, 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 do. And I've got the whole plan worked out, and I can figure out exactly what I need to do to get it where it needs to be, and to fix it, and to completely transform the space immediately, first glance. Other times I'm like, okay, let's start here. Okay, we did that. Let's go here next. And then other times I'm just following the lead of my clients. Where are they motivated? What space do they want to work on today? Are we going to finish up this space, or are we going to jump to another space? And it's just so fun and so refreshing. And I know that it makes such an impact in their life to be able to get rid of the clutter. And for me, when I've had spaces that were cluttered before that I was just so embarrassed by, it makes me feel lighter. I feel better about myself. I feel better in so many other areas when I take care of that big eyesore spot in my home, or entire room, or entire floor of my home that hasn't been addressed in a while. There's so many times, because I'm so busy helping other people, that I don't prioritize my own home, and I don't prioritize my own stuff. And sometimes my home gets messy, and it feels like I need an organizer to come in and help me sometimes. So I'm there with you guys. This is something I still go through myself from time to time, because I put things off. So I know these feelings because I experienced them myself. And I used to be a lot worse, but now it wouldn't take me long to get my whole house company ready. I can do it by tomorrow. Like if I have someone coming tomorrow, I can have my house ready. I just have to take a few minutes and get some things done, right? And I want you to be able to do that too. So if you're not able to do that and you need some help, let's book a session. Like if we're close enough, I'll do it in person. And if not, we can do that virtually. I've helped so many people virtually, and just on giving them the starting point, giving them a picture for what the room needs to look like, product suggestions. Maybe they just need to change up the storage for their space, and it makes the entire space feel more peaceful. Maybe they just need to eliminate a couple of things. And I can see that just from talking with you and a picture of your space. A lot of times I can just see it as we're talking, and it just is so clear to me. And that's so helpful to be able to do that with just a simple virtual call. So if that's something you need, let's do it. If you are really struggling with clothing and laundry as the big struggle for your family and for your home, come join me on August the 20th. We are doing a workshop on capsule wardrobes, how to create a capsule wardrobe for your family. I'm focusing on kids, but there's a lot of tips in there that will work for adults as well. So if you don't have young children or children at all, there's still a lot of information in there that will work for you. So come join us. It will be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you. And if you haven't already, come join the Facebook group. It is the SOS Mom Show at Facebook groups. And I've got the link in the show notes down below. And then also you can reach out and schedule your consultation or your organizing session at thesosmom.com. That's www.thesosmom.com. All right, I will talk to you soon. I hope you come and join us. And if you have not already, please leave a review for this podcast and share it with a friend. Share the show, leave a review. It makes such a difference in how many people are able to find the show. The more reviews it has, the higher it pushes it up, the more people can see it. So that would be really nice. I don't make any money just sharing the show. It doesn't add any money to my pocket. It's just free, helpful information, because that is what I want this to be. I want this show to be that light for someone, that answer to someone's prayers that, you know, is desperate to get rid of the clutter and just needs some guidance in how to start. So if you could take a minute and share it, because maybe that person hasn't told you that they're struggling with this, or maybe they went through a loss last year and they have all of this stuff that they haven't talked about because they just need a distraction when they're with you. Maybe that's it. Maybe your friend is really struggling and they need to hear exactly what's on this show. So please share it. Make sure that you share it with a friend. And if you have a minute, take 1 minute and leave a review, a 5-star review on Apple Podcast for me. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the Facebook group. Bye. Hey friend, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't done it already, make sure you go to Apple Podcast and leave a review for this show so more people can find it. If you want some more behind the scenes and more connection with me, come join the Facebook group at the SOS Mom Show. And you can email me or call 980-389-0399 and email at hello@thesosmom.com. I'm waiting for you. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode. Did I say it right?